If you've parked your money in CDs because they feel safe, predictable, and familiar, today's conversation may challenge some assumptions. We're going to talk about why that sense of safety can be misleading and how quiet risk like inflation and taxes can slowly erode a retirement plan without obvious warnings. Today on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
You are moments away from finally getting the inside track on finance.
You've saved, you've done all the preparation, but when it's time to execute, you have to shift from preparing to performing.
This is the Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
What we're going to do is take the guesswork out of financial planning for you.
Making more momentum with your money.
Here we go on the Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, Jackie Selby on this side, Tod Long of Long Financial Services. Tod, how's it going, first of all? I want to talk about that sneaky erosion factor you're talking about, but first, how's it going?
It's going good. I think the groundhog guy came out and little guy, he saw his shadow, right?
I can't remember how it works.
And I think that means there's more snow or something like that, more cold air coming.
Supposed to be more winter, yeah.
Yes. I never believed that, but I did like that movie Groundhog Day. But
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
That's as far as I can get into it as well. I really can't be grasping this year after year.
Yeah, I can't either. I just know that if it's below 60 degrees, I have to have it on because I'm bald.
We all get used to our temperatures, don't we? It's just, boy.
Yeah.
But it's been
hang on. Let me qualify it. That's bald by choice. I do shave my head. I'm not going bald. I just want to put that out
That is
there.
true. I'm glad you're reminding people.
Yes. I'm not to the point that point yet.
It's a big dome too. It's a lot of room up there.
Wait. You said I got a big head? Is that what you said?
Yep. Oh, it's funny. When I saw you last, and it was during the cold snap or whatever, and you had your hat on, I'm like, God, is it that cold? And you're like, I'm bald.
Yeah.
You have to wear a hat.
You gotta wear a hat because most of your heat comes out of your head. Right? So when I was running, of course, we running at OU it was sometimes we had to go out in the cold and run. As a matter of fact, it was Drake relays. I think it was 1992. We went to Des Moines, Iowa, and it literally was snowing at the track meet. And I was like, Coach Martin, do we still have to run? And he said, yes, you absolutely have to run. I was like, wow. And so I'm bundled up, right? I got hat on, I got my sweatsuit on, everything else. And I had to peel off all those clothes.
And then run like the devil.
Oh, I absolutely did, just to run and put back on those clothes.
Yeah.
and first thing first, I put my hat on.
I don't blame you. Well, that's quite, like I was just pointing out that's quite the heat emitter that you have there.
Yep, absolutely it is.
Now, are you watching any, it's the big wrap up this weekend of the Olympic Games. And you said you're not per se a fan of the Winter Olympics. And that's because your sport is a summer sport.
Yeah. True.
Right? So I kind of get it. But you said you did spend a little time on the curling.
I did watch some curling. I think it was Monday night, I do believe. I think it was the Italians against the U.S. It was mixed. So interesting. I mean, honestly, it wasn't by design. It was just happened to be on. But oftentimes when I watch the Winter Games, I tend to land on the curling. I don't know why. I really don't understand it, but I still find it fascinating to watch.
It is fascinating. It's a fascinating sport. And I learned that they do all the mining of that stone that is on the curling curler in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
It's the only place that the quarry is the only place that they mine the stone for this.
Oh, that is interesting. You learned that on the broadcast?
No, I follow this a couple of pages on my device.
Okay.
That are, you visit Scotland and because of Outlander. It's Outlander's fault.
Outlander, like the
TV show, and the books.
Oh, okay. I only go to Scotland to go to Scotch distilleries.
Try the booze, and who wouldn't?
Yeah, I do the booze. Only in space side. I don't do the Islay or anything like that. But I
was there in 2001, and we were in Perth. And they make these paperweights. They're called Perthshire paperweights. But anyway, I digress. Bought a sweater, a couple paperweights. Anyway.
Yeah. I bought a lot of scotch.
Looked at some Highland coups.
Yeah.
Great place. Well, we better talk about this safety that people perceive of with their financial stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn this fun hose over onto this subject here. Before we jump in, do Do you encounter this from people when you're talking to them? Well, it's safe. A CD, which is a certificate of deposit, right?
Yeah, exactly. At a bank.
It's a safe place for my money.
Yeah, I get it all the time. And a lot of these subjects we talk about are subjects that I hear on a daily basis, monthly basis from clients. And I have a client currently right now who has he's got 403Bs because he was a teacher, and this was a smaller 403B, and he's like, well, I want to roll this into or cash it out so I can put this into a CD. And I'm like, and what was that your strategy? He's like, oh yeah, I got lots of CDs. They start to ladder and whatnot, whatever. And I've moved some stuff out of, annuities into my 403Bs and to CDs. And so we just started having some discussions about it. And I'm like, okay, so he's not the only one. There's lots of people out there who do the same concept, and they choose it because they don't run the numbers. They choose it because guess what? It feels calming. You know the rate.
Right.
Yeah. You know the term, and the money will be there. And there's no daily volatility to watch or headlines to react to, or, politics is not going to affect it, et cetera. So people feel comfortable with those.
It's funny because they can drive by the bank, right? You can drive by. That's where I walked in to put my CD into the bank.
Yep.
I have one at this bank and I have one at that bank over there.
Right.
And I can drive by and look at it.
Yeah, exactly. And or, go online and look at it. Okay, I get
right.
X. And so, we're going to get into it, but that is, and there's nothing wrong with CDs, by the way. I mean, they are good, but a lot of folks tend to think a CD play or a CD strategy is the only strategy that they technically need, even though, guess what? They are paying taxes, what's called tax drag. So you're paying taxes on that interest every single year when you don't even access the money. So, I mean, how's that a positive strategy, especially when you're trying to minimize taxes throughout retirement?
Well, that is a drag, tax drag.
It's a tax drag.
Oh my God, what a drag.
Right.
All right. Here's Todd's number, 888-548-0409. Please call him and bring up this subject, whether you want to talk about the Olympics or about sprinting, or you want to talk about your money in a CD, 888-548-0409. Todd's firm is Long Financial Services, and he's carried the discipline really and resilience from his sprinting career, which was not just at the collegiate level. He was at OU Sooner, but a professional. And I don't know, Olympics, really athletics lift me up. I love all the hockey talk and everything. Todd, you're not a hockey guy, are you?
I don't know that I've actually sat through a complete hockey game, whether it be in person. I remember going, everybody who's in Oklahoma City, we had I don't know what league it was, but I was a tiny tot. And my mom had got tickets. She worked at Annuities Corporation, which is an oil company back in, early 80s or mid 80s, et cetera. Yeah. And she got some tickets to a hockey game. Oh, they're at the Myriad. I think that had destroyed Myriad now, I think, at this point. But we went and we're like, what is going on?
What is this?
What is going? People were like clapping and people getting checked into the walls and whatnot.
Yeah.
We're like, what is going on? I'm a kid. I have no idea. I'm just seeing people skating around on ice that I can't do. So
it seems to me you'd be quite a good skater, though.
I could roller skate, of course. Everybody went roller rinking, right? I could do that. Ice skating, I think I've done it once or twice. Yeah, that's about it.
Takes a lot of strength in the ankles, but you have leg strength, so I was thinking it would be fun for you.
Well, that makes sense, but I've just never really done it because I always, if I was...
You're not from cold weather, though. That's why.
I'm not from cold weather, right? Mm-hmm. I'm from, Oklahoma has cold weather, but not like, let's go icing.
Let's go icing.
Icing. Let's go into the ice rink.
Yeah, let's go to the ice rink. But nowadays, they're turning all the bicycle trails and stuff in parks into long-form skating areas up in, Minnesota and Wisconsin and Canada, and
that's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, and it looks like a lot of fun if you know how to skate.
If not, you'll be in the bushes a lot.
This would be me. Off into the bush. Dang. All right, Todd. So, by golly, I can't believe how long I've talked. We only got a couple minutes left here, and we'll dive back into our CD discussion. But I need you to finish things up here for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening right now, we haven't talked a lot about CDs at this point, but we certainly will throughout this show. But if CDs are something you're technically doing right now, and you may be thinking that it's safe money is actually helping you, but you may think that there's probably some other options out there. That's the reason why we offer this financial fast track review for free. We tend to work best with families that have about $1 million in safe for retirement, because coordination matters at that level a lot. That said, the same planning strategies have also proven effective for individuals with $200,000 or more. So that's a meaningful starting point, and we can actually help you grow that money. So in this free review, we'll help you see how your current CD and other safe money actually fit into your income plan, identify where inflation and taxes may be quietly working against you, stress test your strategy for longevity and changing rate environments, evaluate whether your current approach supports predictable retirement income, which is highly important. You'll walk away with a clearer framework for what should stay, what should change, and why. This is educational, there's no obligation, and it's designed to give you clarity, not to sell you something. So this review is free for the next 10 callers only. So Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
Grab your financial fast track review with Todd. You just use this number. We have this set up specifically for the show, 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. You could also check out the website, financialfasttrackradio.com, financialfasttrackradio.com. We've placed all of the shows that we've done previously up in podcast form. It's kind of like a library, and you could just trip through that and say, oh, yeah, I want to hear about RMDs. I want to hear about life insurance. We have them all segmented in that fashion up on the website. And that is, one more time, financialfasttrackradio.com.
Tired of financial jargon that leaves you feeling confused? At Long Financial Services, Tod Long offers clear, straightforward advice about your retirement. Understand your strategies, regain control, and get peace of mind knowing exactly where you stand. Call 888-548-0409. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Financial Fast Track with Tod Long on the air each weekend to give you a little bit of information. Hopefully this is educational. Jackie Selby on this side of things, and Todd, my gosh, these CDs, they were big in the 80s. I remember my mom had a bunch of CDs, and they used to pay, like back in the 80s, like 10% interest.
Yeah, they were really good back in the day. But now I think that when I was talking to Tim, which is the client I just talked about last segment, I think he was getting at about 3 and some change is what those are right now, which is a little bit higher than what his 403B is actually getting.
Golly.
But a lot less than, a multi-year guaranteed annuity, which is, you can get 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year type rates that are guaranteed. So that's one of the things I talked to Tim about is a MIGA, which is the multi-year guaranteed annuity.
Nice, because I like the word guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yeah. Guaranteed 5 points, 5.5 points for 5 years, 4 years, whatever.
That's pretty nice.
If you want a ladder, if you want to do this kind of strategy, there's better options. And we'll talk about that, here in a second. But
because the whole idea of getting such a low interest rate is, I guess the argument is that that's not going to beat inflation.
You're absolutely correct. Inflation doesn't really announce itself, right? Unless you don't knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here. You'll probably hear something.
I'm going up, honey. I'm going up.
And it's always going to go up. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so you don't really know it, but it quietly starts to show up, year after year, because it reduces what your money can actually buy, right? So a CD may show a stable balance, but that doesn't necessarily mean your lifestyle is protected. Over a 20, 30-year period, if you're doing all these laddering for CDs, even the most modest inflation compounds into a meaningful loss of purchase power. And that's where conservative savers, they miss this whole thing. They focus on whether balances ever go down instead of whether or not the income actually keeps up with the real life expenses, like, your lifestyle, eggs, bread, whatever. Right.
And it's not like I said, this is about education, and it's not your fault. Or, if my mom was around today, she'd be in the same boat. Oh gosh, I'd still got some more money in a CD, dear. But so it's just because we don't understand that there are other things to do. other ways to make this balance. Is it solid or does it go up? What am I trying to communicate?
What you're trying to communicate is like CDs are kind of in a silo. So if you're putting all your money in a silo, guess what? And if it burns down, guess what? All your money's gone. It's really almost the same thing we talk about when we talk about the different buckets. There's the accumulation bucket and, preservation bucket, all those kinds of things. And we have people that put a lot of money in the market. If you put all the money in the market, you're kind of siloing yourself in the market. So everything's determined on what the market does. Market goes down, guess what? You make less money. Or if the market gets wiped out, guess what? All your money gets wiped out. That's the same kind of silo. You have to start to diversify your whole portfolio. I'm not saying CDs are bad. I'm not saying, don't get rid of CDs. What I'm saying is if your strategy is to roll over CDs on a consistent basis, and that's the only strategy you have, that's not a good strategy.
Okay. So I'm going to give your number. It's 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. Call Todd and say, hey, can you say all that again? Because I really think that we're talking about the heart of America right here. Mm-hmm. And people want to have that security.
Right. And another thing that I'll point out, and again, not to we're talking about CDs, so we're going to talk about CDs.
That's what we're talking about.
Pull the hood up, right?
Okay.
One of the things is that, CDs are actually taxed as ordinary income each year, at least the interest on it, right? So if you made, 2%, 5%, 4%, whatever that amount is, it's getting in a little form. You're going to get in the mail and you got to put on your taxes. Even if you haven't even touched that principal in that CD. I mean, that's not tax deferral, right? That's just no control over timing or no flexibility. So most people calculate returns before taxes, not after. So once federal and state taxes are considered, real yields, which is your principal, are often lower than expected, right? So over time, that drag that we just mentioned, that tax drag, it starts to compound. In retirement, where income planning matters most, ignoring taxes can actually turn safe money into underperforming money. And we try to not have that happen in my strategies.
Golly, that makes me mad. To think about, this is not a disclaimer, I don't think, that they hand you when you walk in the door. Don't forget now, this money is going to be taxable. So what do you make? Let's say you put $100,000 into one, right? And you get your little 3%. Well, that money you have to report to the government. You
do. Absolutely. Every single year, even though that $100,000 is sitting there looking pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have my $100,000, Todd.
Yeah. And that's where people start to look at. And you can't only look at that. You got to look at the entire portfolio. And again, CDs are worthy to be in the portfolio. It just can't be the only thing in the portfolio.
Well, because it's not as liquid. You take the money out, there could be a penalty, right?
That's correct. Absolutely. So yeah, you start to minimize. A lot of people think that, they classify, I should say, CDs as being liquid. That's kind of a misnomer. It is closer to being liquid, but it's not, because you still have those penalties you have to pay for, and you start to minimize, or you start to reduce the flexibility you technically have in retirement. Because if you have a life-changing event, or you have some sort of health scare, or whatever it is, sometimes you can't go draw on that CD because the penalties are too steep to be able to take the money out.
Can you take a loan against the thing?
That's a good question. I don't know that. That's something I
wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Because then you're really going to be upside down on your car deal there.
Right, exactly.
On your trade-in, right?
On your trade-in, right.
Okay. Because this is a contractual thing, that you do sign that when you sign up for a CD. You hand them your money. Okay. Yep. And now you're signing the contract, and away you go. And for somebody who wants certainty, you're kind of upside down in general. In general, yeah. And that kind of goes into some of the alternative plans we technically have. There are, and we talked about it a little bit just a minute ago, and this is just one of them. All right. And again, I don't like to go out and push product, but a multi-year guaranteed annuity is actually another form of contractual vehicle that you can actually do. But the difference is that usually annuities are going to have some sort of withdrawal that you can actually take on a consistent basis without a penalty. So if something does happen, and that gives you more of that flexibility and more towards that liquidity
If you need access to cash and, everything else is tied up with penalties or whatever it is, if you have some sort of annuity, then you have access to some sort of cash to solve that need. That's just one aspect or one example.
Okay, now I like that. So there are alternatives.
Sure. And one thing about alternatives that I'll start to talk about now is a lot of folks, it's not the concept of going out and finding a product, right? What's going to replace my CD? What you need to ask first is, what is this money supposed to do for me?
Okay, now you're talking.
Right. So in retirement, every single penny should have an assignment in retirement. And I typically break it down into 4 jobs. The first one is liquidity. We've kind of talked about it. It's money you can actually access quickly for surprises, like without penalties or complicated decisions.
Okay, liquidity.
Exactly.
Air conditioner replacement money.
Boom, you got it, right?
Okay.
Exactly. Job 2 is income. So that's money designed to produce dependable cash flow so you can actually pay your bills without constantly deciding whether to roll money over, what to sell, what to cash out, et cetera, right? Job 3 is protection, money that stabilizes the plan so you're not forced into bad decisions when life or markets or politics get messy, because that obviously happens. And then the 4th job is growth, because inflation is absolutely real. And over a long retirement, you need a plan to actually for purchasing power. You want to be able to buy those eggs 20 years down the road that is going to cost you $5-6 or something, right? So that's why, the CDs often are asked to do all those jobs by themselves. That's that silo I was talking about. You can't, that's not even fair for the CD to be able to do that. I wouldn't put an annuity in that capacity. So why would you put a CD in that capacity that doesn't have the kind of flexibility that annuity does?
The answer is it's just because we didn't know till now.
You didn't know until now. Exactly. So if you are, listening right now and thinking, I like the idea of alternatives, but I don't really know what kind of alternative fits my lifestyle. This is exactly why we make 10 free financial fast track reviews available each week. We tend to do our best work, again, with families that have about $1 million or more saved for retirement. That said, the same planning strategies have also proven effective for individuals $200,000 or more. Again, that's a meaningful starting point. We help you grow that. In this review, I'll help you identify what job your safe money needs to do, compare CD alternatives based on income, protection, and flexibility, evaluate trade-offs so you're not guessing, build a coordinated bucket strategy with clear roles for every penny. Leave with a prioritized roadmap for next steps. So, Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
If you want someone to deep dive on your money, this is your man. Call Todd, 888-548-0409. Get a financial fast track review with Tod Long. It just starts with a casual conversation, for heaven's sakes. 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. Coming up, more explanation of what a CD does and does not do here on Financial Fast Track.
Feeling like just another number with your advisor? At Long Financial Services, you're always valued personally. Tod Long knows your retirement isn't about numbers on a page. It's about income you can depend on, security you can trust, and advice tailored specifically to you. Take the first step toward a meaningful conversation. Call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
So this is an interesting discussion on CDs is our topic. And just in case you happen to have missed the show, we would like to invite you to check out our content. Gosh, I sound like a YouTuber, don't I? Yeah, if you like the content. Anyway.
Well, we do have a YouTube station.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We actually have a YouTube now.
So golly. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Hit that bell, whatever they say.
Right.
But seriously, if you'd like to check out the content, it's Financial Fast Track, right, on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, Financial Fast Track, I think with Tod Long. I think that's the...
that's the one we landed on?
That's the YouTube. Yeah, okay. The YouTube one, yeah.
Financial Fast Track with Tod Long on YouTube, and all of the radio content And that's listed by, like today's show will be called CDs. And we've talked about RMDs. We've talked about annuities, life insurance, so many things.
401ks,
all
Roth
of it.
conversions, all that stuff.
Right. Roth conversions, that was a good show. So you can access that information at financialfasttrackradio.com. financialfasttrackradio.com, or anywhere that you get your content for podcast listening. So that includes iHeart and Spotify. We have been talking about CDs on the show today. Can you tell me why it feels so old-fashioned or whatever? Because we want to find a mix that we don't have to babysit, right? Like CDs, you have to keep track of, put it in your calendar, honey. That thing's going to come into maturity the day after your birthday, or, you got to keep track of it.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things that I do for my customers is really determine what they want. So a lot of folks want to have that conservative type of strategy, and that's not a problem. So one of the best outcomes of a coordinated conservative plan is that it reduces the babysitting.
Okay.
CD-heavy retirees often live, in maintenance mode. That's tracking maturity dates, that's shopping rates, that's rolling money, and wondering if they're missing some sort of opportunity or missing some sort of rate that they didn't see. A coordinated mix reduces those forced decisions. You defined a liquidity bucket so surprises don't cause penalty decisions. You define an income floor, of which we talked about in a couple of shows ago. So your baseline lifestyle isn't dependent on interest rates or markets or political whatever. And then you also define protection and principal protected growth. So inflation is addressed without taking on risk that doesn't actually match your comfort level. And you coordinate tax timing so you're not accidentally stacking taxable income year after year and increasing your tax bill.
Structured, calm, and repeatable. That sounds like a good plan we could apply to other areas of our life.
Exactly. Structure, being calm, and just repeating it.
It sounds like my mom, she always used to tell us kids, be calm, everyone be calm.
Yeah.
And when we, as teenage girls, me and my sister would grow hysterical. Calm yourselves.
But you know what? It's weird. It's like you hate hearing it when you're a child.
Yeah.
You get to be an adult. You're like, I kind of want to hear it sometimes. But when in retirement, you need that. You want that calm. You want. I don't want to have all these crazy decisions I have to make.
Right.
This CD. I seriously talked to a client right before this call who said, well, if I do this one right here, then I have this CD that's supposed to is coming up in 2 years. Then it's just too much income. I'm like, man, you making too many decisions. You literally are making too many decisions for yourself. And he's like 75 years old. You don't need to be doing that at all. Strategy is not the same. You got to change that strategy up.
Very good. And here's the number, 888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. Call Tod Long.
Retirement means a new phase of life, and managing risk is crucial. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long and his team build comprehensive strategies designed to minimize risk, generate reliable income, and help you stay proactive through every market condition. Discover what your retirement plan could look like. Call 888-548-0409. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Well, Todd's giving us a lot of information about CDs. They're supposed to be certificates of deposit, right? Is that what they're called?
Yes, they are.
And from what I'm understanding in this discussion, you feel like they can be disappointing. So how about a certificate of disappointment? Why not?
That is good. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that now. So it's mine.
You may.
Yes.
So I thought we could do that case study. You were telling me about a couple. They're newly retired, good savers. No debt, solid work history, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some good money, almost $1.5 million for retirement, total retirement assets. But so a large portion of this sat in a CD and money market accounts.
Yeah.
And like $600,000 just sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
Golly gee.
Yeah. For the first couple of years, nothing was going wrong. It was, rates were decent. Expenses were manageable. Accounts looks, stable. But retirement is not measured in years. It's actually measured in decades. Inflation began to creep higher. Health costs, as you know, as I was talking to a gentleman just yesterday, they're going to rise regardless, right?
Regardless, and fast, man.
And faster than expected. Same thing, required minimum distributions on the horizon. The math started to shift, right? Early in, if I'm running a 400 meter, right?
Yeah.
One lap around the whole thing, everything can feel smooth and control at the start of the race. It's later when I'm fatigued, I'm a little tired. I'm like, man, I'm starting to stress. That's when I start to error. That's when I start to mess things up, my race plan, whatever it may be. Retirement works the exact same way. So their plan wasn't really failing loudly. It was actually failing quietly. One small pressure point at a time is kind of what they started to experience.
Wow. That's a really good analogy. I'm liking this. In case you didn't know that Tod won what'd you win? A national championship for that 400 meter relay, right?
World championship. It was 4x400 meter relay. So one lap around, make it happen.
Why don't I understand the verbiage of sports? I really just kind of mess it up.
You just kind of watch, and that's okay.
Okay, that's good.
That's fine.
Yeah, there it is. All right. This is very interesting for our couple. What did you steer them towards? Because they weren't reckless in their saving or anything like that.
No, that's true. So one of the things that they started to really fully understand is that, every year the interest from that CD, or actually there's lots of CDs in that portfolio, were fully taxable, right? And so
there was a lot of taxes on
exactly
$600,000. Whoopity-doo.
Exactly. There was no flexibility. There was no timing control. And as you know, I'm all about when you start to have your money distributed to you, it's got to be in a tax efficient manner. And you have to be in control of that. And so as other income sources came online, so, their Social Security, et cetera, guess what started to rise? Their tax bill started to rise. Medicare premiums start to increase. What they thought was conservative money was actually adding pressure to their entire portfolio. And this wasn't because a market problem, and it wasn't because of coordination. It was actually, it was a coordination problem, right? The income looked safe in that CD, but it started to stack on top of everything else in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. Because guess what? You're retired. you want stability and easiness in retirement, not complexity and craziness.
This is Financial Fast Track with Tod Long, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. We want it to be smooth, and I think that's what they were thinking, because their plan was to roll the CDs over, right, collect some interest, and then when these things mature, then pull out the principal when needed, et cetera. I mean, on the surface, it looks good and safe, but that's a lot of money to just be waiting for the thing to roll over,
You're right. That is right. And also, they didn't really anticipate what a CD would do if something unexpected happened, which technically happened. One spouse faced an unexpected health issue. Spending changed quickly. They had liquidity, but not flexibility. So the money was locked into terms that didn't actually align with the real life, situation that they're going through. Penalties became a part of the conversation. Decisions became more reactive instead of proactive or planned. And that's when stress entered the plan that had, once felt safe, because the plan wasn't really built for real life surprises. And in essence, they kind of put their money in this, $600,000 in these CDs in that silo that didn't really look at what's really happening in their life. And it wasn't just planned. It just wasn't planned well, unfortunately.
Well, they had the right heart for the whole, they had good money, they saved, we have a plan, it's going to go into CDs.
Right. And a lot of people think that, and it's unfortunate that they think that, and that's the way to go. It wasn't. And fortunate enough, they got on the phone with me. We had some conversations. And so once we started to, map everything together, that's the income needs, the tax exposure, the time horizons, the picture became a little bit more clear for them. Now, CDs were not eliminated in their portfolio. They were just repositioned.
Repositioned,
right?
okay.
Yeah. Other tools were introduced to create more, predictable income, manage the taxation situation that they were in, preserve access to liquidity, cash, et cetera, when they needed it, and reduce those long-term uncertainty. For me, a strong finish doesn't, come from one move, right? If I'm running the 400 meter and I'm a third 100 meter, I have to do this strategically the entire time. I can't just make one solid move and make it happen. Retirement is the same thing. You have to adjust over time to be able to get to that finish line consistently. And so that's what we kind of did. The biggest shift was that decisions were, proactive for them instead of the reactive situation that they were technically in initially.
Well, I bet they're so happy about it now, to get things working in the right direction. So did you help them create some income from some of the things that we've talked about before? Yeah,
exactly. So we repositioned some of those funds into actually some index annuities and some fixed index annuities.
Great.
And as well as they do have, I think, one multi-year guaranteed annuity. And so they had obviously some RMD issues as well. That we didn't really talk about for this one right here that we have to adjust or actually solve for as well. So that's why some of the fixed index annuities are there. But some of that liquidity and some of that flexibility comes from those. And I kind of mentioned earlier, you get up to a certain amount of money every year to take money out, no penalties whatsoever. So if something does happen with another spouse with health or car or AC unit you mentioned, you got access to cash to be able to make that happen.
Well, thank goodness.
And it reduces their tax bill because they don't have that tax drag anymore. Because again, $600,000 every single year, that interest, guess what? You have to pay you have to pay taxes on.
Wow. And wow. All this fits together. Now, Todd, did you feel a great concern over the change of health status of one of them? How are they going to pay for care should they need that on an ongoing basis, in-home care or whatever?
Yeah. So fortunately enough, it was not that kind of a health scare.
Okay, good.
But because it happened to them, we did actually the products that I showed them are positioned for the strategy does have, and we've talked about this before, long-term care riders attached to it. So therefore, if something were to happen, then guess what? They do have access to some funds because they didn't have it before, right? And they got scared because, okay, so we're going to have somebody come in the house and help you walk around. It was a hip replacement, right?
Oh.
And so, yeah, you have to do all these different things.
Yes.
And so, well, you got to do it now. However, what you should have done and what they did, subsequently is create these pockets of cash that actually trigger once you have an issue like, what they had. So therefore they'll get some money out of that.
Well, that's good. Thank goodness those hip replacements are no joke, but most people adapt well to it,
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't, the medical industry wouldn't do so many of the gosh darn things every year, but that
is true. So one final point on this case study, and the reason why I kind of wanted to bring it up is like the takeaway isn't that CDs are bad. I want to put that out there. They're not bad. The takeaway is that isolation creates risk. And if you're isolating everything into one particular portfolio, one particular asset, one particular strategy, then that's going to create some sort of risk. Safety doesn't come from avoiding movement. It actually comes from structure, alignment, and adaptability. So when retirees see the full picture, confidence replaces guesswork. And because the plan is built to go the distance, and that's kind of the plans I actually created here at Long Financial Services.
Well, you bet. And here's Todd's number, 888-548-0409. If you want somebody who understands strategy, especially to do with your retirement money, I mean, obviously that's why we're on the air, but I'm sure you can tell if you spent any time listening to Todd and the things that he says. He's just a great strategist. 888-548-0409. You can hop online and book an appointment with him, book right into his calendar. Are you mostly seeing people on Zoom calls or virtually, I guess we call it?
Yeah. So the process starts, we started just phone conversation initially. Right. And then the second call is either going to be on Zoom or in person. Really depends on what the client needs are.
All right.
And there's been some that I don't see them at all. Everything's done via phone or via Zoom. But if you are listening right now and thinking this sounds very uncomfortably familiar, or you don't want to find out if it's too late, This is exactly why we offer a free financial fast track review. Can be on the phone, can be in person, can be on Zoom. We tend to work best with families that have about $1 million or more in retirement, but the same strategies can actually have a very good effect for individuals $200,000 or more. And again, it's a good starting point, and we help you build that income up. Each week, we intentionally set aside 10 free financial fast track reviews, and once those spots are filled, we close the calendar. So in this review, we're going to help you stress test your income for longevity and inflation, identify hidden risks in conservative strategies, evaluate tax pressure and timing risks, review flexibility under real life scenarios, healthcare, political stuff, market strategies, whatever. You're going to walk away with clear priorities and next steps. So, Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
888-548-0409. 888-548-0409. You could also connect with Tod Long on financialfasttrackradio.com. It's financialfasttrackradio.com. Again, on the number, 888-548-0409.
Is your retirement plan starting to feel generic? You're unique. Your retirement strategy should be too. At Long Financial Services, Tod Long customizes each plan specifically around you, your life, and your goals. For a personalized review of your retirement, call 888-548-0409. Proudly serving Oklahoma. Again, that's 888-548-0409.
Financial Fast Track with Tod Long. I don't know if you've been listening the whole show, but we're talking about CDs. Certificates of deposit. People just call them CDs, and we don't.
No, it's certificates of disappointment.
Disappointment. Dun, dun, dun. I was going to say, we're not talking about the CDs that we used to play in the CD player. Gosh, when did they stop including CD players in the car production? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't have any more?
No.
Okay.
My car doesn't have either of them. My last car, which was a 2022, and then my current car, which is a 2025. Neither of those cars.
No CDs, huh?
No CDs.
Okay.
I have some CDs. Do you have CDs?
Oh my goodness, yes. I still have them in the garage. We talked about, clutter.
Yeah. Oh.
And I got boxes and boxes of CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays, and none of that stuff is. I don't think I turned on my Blu-ray in probably 8 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah, I probably need to get rid of that. I honestly, I just got rid of my my cable box. So I still have cable, but I have DirecTV, but I have the app. I don't have anything on my house or anything. It's just one of those the apps, because I have 2 gigs symmetric on my internet pipe. So at this point, I got rid of all that stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty light with some with those devices I used to have.
Mm-hmm. We talk about clutter. So what are you going to do with all that stuff in the garage?
I know I need to get rid of it.
No, I'm just asking. What?
I need to get rid of it. Yeah, don't call me out, Miss Jackie. What are you doing?
Sorry, golly. No, I'm just saying, in general terms, because when I walk the dog in the evening, I see people's garages open. It's like, look at all that stuff.
Yeah. And
what are they going to do with that?
I don't know. Every time I go, pulling it out of the garage, I'm like, yeah, there's like those tubs that have black tubs.
Yes.
I don't know, probably 8 of those puppies filled up with stuff that I haven't looked at. And I built this house in 2015 and looked at it since I moved in.
And it's quite the chore, you have to take it bit by bit. Otherwise, you just get mad, order a roll-off, and put it all in the roll-off. Yeah.
No, I'm a chunk it. I just got it. It's going to be in stages. I just got to do it. And it got cold, so that was my excuse. It got cold.
It works for me. It was cold too, wasn't it?
Yes. I'll do it this spring, though. At least parts of it.
Yeah, why not? It's part of your spring cleaning.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, if you've been listening, we're talking about those darn CDs, certificate of deposit or disappointment, if you will. A lot of people have these instruments. So how do we turn this into something better for ourselves? Can we take some action today?
Yeah, we can. And a lot of retirees aren't uninformed, right? They've read articles, they've watched videos. I do seminars, I do webinars. I'm sure a lot of folks have probably seen all those things. They've heard about inflation, they've heard about taxes and market volatility. The problem isn't lack of information. The problem is that information usually lives in silos. We've talked about it. So you might have CD strategy over here, a Social Security decision over there, an IRA over here,
right?
An old 401k over there, I think, in a vague idea,
right? Like maybe more than one.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That you're being careful in retirement, but retirement doesn't reward vagueness, right? It rewards integration. Integration means your income sources, your tax strategy, your protection strategy, your liquidity strategy, all work together. It means each decision supports the other decisions. And when things aren't integrated, retirees end up, doing what feels reasonable in the moment, like rolling CDs, taking withdrawals, reacting to rate moves, et cetera,
yes,
without seeing how those choices impact taxes, Medicare premiums, and long-term sustainability. So everything has to be able to work together, and it has to be seen, visible, to be able to work together.
This integration that you talk about, it's good to have somebody else help you with it, because otherwise, if we try to integrate too many new things, we could go off into the ditch. We've talked about that before.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
it's a little daunting to have to research, make these decisions, both be on the same page,
exactly,
et cetera, et cetera. So
right.
It's good to work with somebody else, I'm telling you.
That is true. And so when you have a coordinated plan that actually does that, it's much more beneficial versus, and I talk to a lot of folks who do things themselves, and I don't have a problem helping them out. We'll give them a strategy and go. But the problem is they tend to run down those rabbit holes because, okay, I see the strategy or I did my research. I went to the seminar. I did all this different stuff. I got the information, but then I see some YouTube or some Instagram post or TikTok or whatever it may be that says do this, I'm going to go chase that down. And then they get off their strategy, right?
Yes.
And so then they go down this rabbit hole, and all of a sudden 4 or 5 moves later, you've impacted your RMDs, you impacted your Medicare premiums, you've raised your tax bracket because you've did these moves over here that wasn't thinking or looking and wasn't visible to your primary retirement plan.
And we do so easily get distracted.
Yes.
Because your phone is listening to you
all the time.
And so they know, and plus the phone knows our age and all those things and our habits of purchase, et cetera, et cetera. So they're trying to aim messages toward us. And you're right. Then the next thing you know, golly, I think I'll try that instead.
Because I'm trying to run down a rabbit hole over here, but forget we have what I'll call a charter, which is, a strategy. This is a plan. This is what my charter is for this particular application that I'm creating. If I'm off that charter, that means I'm drifting. I'm going down a rabbit hole that I do not need to go down.
I see.
It's the same concept when it comes to retirement plans. If you don't have a strategy that's planned, that's built out, that's the roadmap like we talked about,
right?
Then you tend to see that little, look at that new thing over here that's doohickey that I seen on TikTok, or you mentioned that all the Google stuff hits your phone and all of a sudden you're getting these ads. I'm going to click on it and all of a sudden you go down the rabbit hole over here and it impacts your main retirement plan.
Here's Todd's number again, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. So it's a myth thinking that your money is safe over here in the CD, right? This is a money myth?
Yes, that is a myth, because when
it's at risk, even though it feels like the safest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, if people think, it's your principal doesn't go down, then you're safe. That's only a one dimension of safety, if you will. So real safety actually includes at least 4 dimensions. That's income safety, which you can reliably pay your bills for decades, not for weeks, not for months. We're talking decades, regardless of what's going on in the rate cycles. There's the tax safety. Can you actually control when income is recognized so taxes don't become a permanent headwind, right?
No, we don't want a permanent headwind.
No, you should not. And so flexibility, safety. Can you adapt if healthcare changes, family needs change, opportunities arise, political adjustments happen? Can you be flexible in that kind of environment? And the last one is purchasing power safety. Can you keep up with inflation so lifestyle doesn't quietly start to shrink? That, in 20 years, that egg purchase, is it going to be $5 or $6 or $10 at that point? Do you have the money to be able to support that because you've kept up with inflation? Those are the kind of things you got to start to think about.
Okay. Now, it scares me so bad, all this stuff, sometimes I get wound up in what's going on in the world and this flashpoint or that flashpoint,
right.
Whether it's economic or geopolitical or anything else. And I think, are we even going to have eggs in 20 years? Are we going to have chickens?
We're going to have chickens. I think we're going to have chickens. I don't know why eggs would cost so much anyway. But
I just can't imagine.
Yeah, I can't either. But I mean, obviously, I was grocery shopping when the eggs went up to like $6. I'm like, what is this?
Yep, I agree. Even the backyard farmer who's had chickens a long time, and this is what they do, and they put a sign up on Saturday, and you pull in off a rural road, and that's even gone up so much, all the way to $6 and $7.
Those have gone up too?
Yeah, those have gone up because you're paying a premium for the, I guess for the kitsch or the, tourism aspect of stopping to buy chickens.
Goodness gracious, whatever.
It's bad.
That is crazy.
That's why I worry a little bit. Are we going to have chickens, or are they just going to?
I think we'll still have chickens.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess the price points can continue to go up. This is kind of crazy.
I mean, $1 an egg. Come on, people.
Yeah, seriously.
Is it going to be $12?
Maybe.
Oh my Lord! I'll have to keep this recording and then in 20 years listen to it.
Listen to it. Mm-hmm. The price of eggs did go up to $12.
God, can you believe we were talking like that?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
All right. So are there different dimensions of retirement safety that we haven't talked about yet?
No, those are the four ones that you really need to start to focus on. And you have to start to ask those kinds of questions without a strategy you have. And we're talking about CDs right now, but those four dimensions work, as far as the question is concerned, work for anything. So you can start to look at, can my investment accounts do the same thing? Can my CDs do the same thing? Or in our case, can annuities do the same thing? So you have to start to be able to answer those questions. If those questions are like, I don't know. Yeah, you got to give me a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409. And I feel like part of it, this lack of education is that, any message that they that TV or businesses or whatever want us to react to, you have to see it over and over and over again, right?
True.
And so CDs were such a big thing, and really that it's pounded into our memory of the 80s and 90s that this is a good, safe place. And the other things that we talk about have not gotten this amount of pounding.
No, they haven't. And as a matter of fact, they probably went on the flip side of that and got a lot of negative stuff.
Bad stuff, yeah.
Exactly, associated with it. And so therefore, I had a conversation just with a gentleman the other day, I think it was Tuesday, who said, yeah, I know about annuities. I heard some bad things about annuities, but I know
everyone says that.
Yeah, there's some good stuff as well. Mm-hmm. But if you're listening right now and thinking, I don't want to make any small mistakes that turns into permanent long-term mistakes, or I need clarity before timing windows actually close, this is exactly why we make 10 free financial fast track reviews available each week. And again, we tend to do our best work with families that have $1 million or more in retirement, but these same planning strategies also have proven effective for individuals with $200,000 or more saved. And again, that's a meaningful starting point. We help you build that nest egg. Once those 10 spots are filled, though, we close the calendar so we can actually give each plan the attention it deserves. In this review, we'll help you coordinate income, taxes, protection, and liquidity into one clear strategy, identify decisions that may soon lock in and reduce flexibility, evaluate whether your safe money is supporting or weakening outcomes, stress test the plan for inflation, longevity, and changing rate environments, and you're going to walk away with a clear, prioritized roadmap for the next steps. So, Jackie, tell the listeners how to get one of these spots.
Sure. Happy to do it. Use this number we have lined up for the show, 888-548-0409, 888-548-0409 on Financial Fast Track with Tod Long.
Investment advisory services offered through Tod Long, a registered investment advisor. During this show, Tod Long provides general information, not individually targeted personalized advice, and is not liable for the usage of information discussed. Exposure to ideas and products or services should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any of these financial vehicles. This information should also not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate, and when redeemed, may be worth more or less than when originally invested. adopted. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to securities or investment advisory services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are offered through Tod Long. By contacting Tod Long, you may be provided information regarding the purchase of insurance products.